Alrighty, good morning. How's it going? It's a little chilly today. I think it's about 50 degrees, so a little fresh. But one of the things I wanted to talk about today, been watching a lot of videos on YouTube, as one does, and saw several videos on some of the younger people complaining that life's too expensive. They can't make it in this world, can't keep a job, they don't want a job, everybody's complaining. And to be fair, life in general is a little bit harder than perhaps it was in the past. Probably the best time probably would have been to be the boomer generation, but it doesn't mean it's the end of the world. So there's basically three things. I think there's three things that I think young people and just about anybody can do today that would actually benefit them. One, one of your greatest assets is mobility. And if you live in a small town that doesn't have any jobs, like you're not going to be able to work at Walmart or McDonald's and be able to have potentially the life you want. I mean, if you just wanted subsistence living, or maybe you're married and you just want a little bit of spending money, okay. But those jobs are not meant to be like permanent jobs that you work at for 20 years. Flipping burgers at McDonald's. A manager at McDonald's, sure. Being a barista at Starbucks. While they do have a lot of good benefits, you're not going to get ahead in life. It'll pay you just enough, if you're lucky, to have a car that runs, maybe enough to get a small apartment, maybe enough to get an apartment with a roommate, but it's never going to pay you enough to save for retirement, to go on a long vacation, or go on a far vacation, or like even support a family. Like, it just ain't gonna happen. Now if you had two people, say a couple, or married or whatever, if they're making $15 an hour and they were both working 40 hours a week, well, that's kind of combined roughly $30 an hour, and then you might be able to get by depending on where you live. $30 an hour, San Francisco, ain't gonna cut it. $30 an hour in, where BFE, whatever state, small town, yeah, you might be able to make it. If you inherit property or good amount of money, maybe, but you're not going to be doing it on your own. So try not to get weighed down. If you get laid off or fired, or if you were born someplace where there's just no jobs, no opportunities, your greatest asset is going to be the ability to pick up all your stuff and just move. So try not to get yourself weighed down with too much debt. Big house. I didn't buy a house till I was almost 40 years old. Now, granted, I was in the military, so I did have base housing and stuff like that. Occasionally, I was able to live in an apartment, but I was stationed in Washington, D.C. for a couple years, and that was like in the peak. It was like 2008, 2009, and me and my wife, I was in the military, I had a second job, and my wife had two jobs, and that's what it took for us to get by in Washington, D.C. So, yeah, back to my first point. Always try to keep, have the ability to be mobile. That way, you're not stuck someplace where there's just no opportunities. All right, second point. It kind of follows the first, where, let me back up. You're not going to be able to do or get ahead with the minimum wage jobs or the like jobs that you can just jump into. You can do hard labor. The trades are actually probably really good right now. Like, if you ever had to install an air conditioner or get plumbing repaired, electrical repaired, those guys make a killing. So for the men, like if you're fresh out of high school, unless you want to be a doctor, a lawyer, and it might even end there. Like, you should be able to say, you could do tech, like computer science, programming, stuff like that. With all the H-1B, like visa stuff, everybody's intent on making those just like line workers. Wages will probably come down, and the opportunities aren't quite there like they were, 5 or 10 years ago. But construction is always around. You could be like my daughter. She's going to be a vocational nurse. Probably graduate. She graduated high school early, and she's going to graduate, be a vocational nurse, and she's not even 21. No debt. I mean, I'm bankrolling it, but I can afford it because it's at a community college. So, but that's a career. She can grow into it if she wants to be, registered nurse later on. Like, she'll make enough money. She's living at home. I'm not going to kick her out as soon as she graduates or anything like that. But she can work her way up, just like anybody would in an actual career. So things like that. If you are a guy and you do construction, you put in the work for like 5 to 10 years. I mean, your 20s, you got tons of energy. You can do it. You can kind of burn the candle at both ends and put in that hard work, because that's sticking your nose to the grindstone. That's that 10 years when you leave your parents' house. That's kind of going to set the tone for your 30s, and then how you work in your 30s is going to set the tone for the 40s, so on and so forth. So yeah, like, there's the actual probably not house construction, but maybe, but the trades, there's a massive shortfall. I think Mike Rowe always his YouTube channel, or he's always doing videos, always talking about it. And hey, nobody wants to do the dirty work of being a plumber, but if you can make 6 figures after like 5 years, I mean, not that bad. I think my first year after I graduated, I did between like school, I did a summer as an electrician's helper. It was hard work, but I got paid pretty good. And in 96, 7, something like that. I think the minimum wage is the same as it is now, sadly. But I was making probably, I remember, like $12, $15 an hour. And that's not bad. 40-hour week over the summer. And our money's worth like half of what it was back 20 years ago, 30 years ago. So, to kind of sum up the second point, don't do jobs that, like, everybody knows you're not going to make it as a fast food worker, a barista, retail. If you somehow figure out how to be a manager, then maybe. But go for those jobs that actually have earning potential. We'll just say that. Half the reason I always like computers, but half the reason I chose cybersecurity is because there was earning potential. When I first got to the job that I was in, I was making $42,000 a year, which is livable. I had my military retirement and stuff, so I was doing fine. But compared that to now, I mean, I've over doubled in 5 years' time. So you can do it. And I started off when I was 40 in cybersecurity. And my third point, if I really have a third point, is probably maybe minimalism or essentialism or any of those little related isms. The amount, like when I was growing up, we did not have like subscriptions to anything. Maybe a magazine, things like that. You got subscriptions for anything, and those are little mosquito bites that suck a drop of blood or two at a time. But I mean, before I started actually paying attention to it, I had close to $100 in subscriptions. Was it Apple Care, all the streaming, all the streaming channels, Apple, Disney, Hulu. Like, I cut some of this off because the content isn't really worth it. I'm not saying you need to buy physical media or anything, but like if I want to watch something, I'll just rent it. You still stream, but instead of spending, I don't know, 10, 20, whatever it is now, bucks a month, like that's $200-300 a year, I might just spend half or like a tenth of that and just rent a few movies when they just happen to be really good. I'm not really going to explain minimalism or even like essentialism that much. Tons of videos. I'd just be one of the millions of voices doing the same thing. But if you don't need $10,000 a month to live off of, you don't really need to make $10,000 a month. If you can live off $1,000 a month or $2,000 a month, if you can live off $2,000 a month, that's only $24,000 a year. It's relatively easy to make $24,000 a year, maybe even as a fast food worker or a retail job. You might actually be able to pull that off as a full-time job. Now, those are hard to come by, so you might need a couple of them, but yeah, it's just kind of is what it is. My wife, she actually works retail just for her spending money, and kind of one of the, like, she probably hits about 30 hours a week, but she's not full-time. But one of the things she always says about some of the workers is they don't really seem like they want to work. Any excuse that they can come up with to trade hours or not come in on a particular time, like, they pretty much do it. And that's probably half the hours my wife actually does get is from people calling her and say, hey, can you take my shift? And she does. So that long. We're hit 13 minutes. And about to get a little more organized in the future. So this is third, fourth video, something like that. So we'll just kind of sum up this video. So there's 3 things that you can do to start getting ahead. 1, always have the ability to be mobile. 2, don't work menial jobs, don't work retail. Actually work a job that has earning and career potential. You'll get the benefits. You won't start off making 6 figs, but you'll eventually get there if the potential is there. And the last one is you don't need much. I know I've wasted so much money in my 20s, a lot of money on alcohol. All I had to show for it is a hangover and maybe some embarrassing memories. I might have had 2 good memories while drinking. Everything else, out of 20 years in the Marine Corps, out of everything else, it was fun. I made myself look like an idiot or got hungover or whatnot. But at the end of the day, at the end of the hangover, it was just, hey, back to work. like nothing memorial or memorable. But yeah, just, you don't need that much. It's pretty cheap living. So yeah, that it is. 3 points for the younger people. If y'all happen to listen to this, always stay mobile. Already forgot my list. Always stay mobile. Work a job that has actual earning and career potential, and basically be a minimalist or essentialist. You know, you don't really need that much. You don't need thousands of games or wasting money on alcohol or whatever people do these days. I don't know. I don't need that much, but I could retire tomorrow once my kids are out of the house, once the youngest graduates college, and you know, the wife's done working. You know, somewhere between now and 10 years, I've already set my clock. I'm done. Might have this YouTube thing or other little side hustles, but I am done working for the man. So there you go. Like, comment, subscribe, please. If you have any questions, you can leave them in the comments below, all that good stuff, and I will see you next week. Bye.